welcome back to Not Easy Being Geeky, the podcast where me, Rachel, talks about nerdy shit. Oh man, I am really excited for today's episode because it's literally just gonna be nerding out hardcore. Um, it's so awesome to be a fucking nerd right now. There are so many dope ass upcoming releases in just October alone. So we're gonna get into it. We got anime, we got movies, we got TV series, we got it all, bitch. And I'm so fucking excited. Like literally every single one of my favorite kind of fandoms has got some shit going on in the next couple months, and I don't know what to do with myself. And actually a couple of them have already started. But before we get into that, so a lot of things are coming out like the first week of October, a lot of new animes, or like upcoming seasons of some of our favorite animes. Two of which being Spy Family and My Hero Academia. I'm nervous as fuck for My Hero Academia. Couldn't be more excited for Spy Family. Two different kind of feelings here. Cause I know with My Hero Academia shit's about to hit the fan. I really know that. I'm very nervous, but I can't wait too because I know it's gonna be badass. But then with Spy Family, when I saw the trailer for the second season, I'm like, "Oh shit, is this one gonna be intense too?" So, ugh. I see, the thing is, Spy Family is not a manga I read. I didn't even know what it was until I kept seeing all the trailers for the, anime release when it was first announced, and I was like, "That looks really cute." And then when I saw the official trailer for it, and I was like, "Oh, that looks kick ass and cute." And I showed it to Justin and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna love this." And literally after the first episode, we fell in love, and then every Saturday became Spy Family Day. We were so ready. We could not miss the episode. We had to watch it as soon as it aired, and we would watch the previous episode from the week before because we enjoyed the series so much, and we fell in love with these characters. And it was a series that made me go back and read the manga. And then after I read the manga, I was like, wow, what a transformation from manga to anime. Because, first of all, the manga's already adorable, but there were some things that weren't in the manga that they clearly made to stretch out for it to like obviously make it longer, like a full length episode. And damn, did it deliver. Like, it was just top tier. I was very, very impressed, seeing, cause not always is, like, a manga, like, translated well into an anime. I mean, I can name 2 off the top of my head, which I will be doing a deep dive episode about these 2 animes. Tokyo Ghoul, which I know is heavily criticized for people who have read the manga, as well as, The Promised Neverland. Those are 2 where the adaptation just completely fell short of how amazing the mangas are. And that's not to say that the entire thing was bad for both of them. I actually very much enjoyed both the first and second season of Tokyo Ghoul, and then they just fucked it up after that. Same thing with The Promised Neverland. The first season was phenomenal, and then it just fell flat in the second one, and I feel was a huge disappointment to a lot of the fans. Um, but I'm very excited to see what they've done with Spy Family so far after first seeing the anime and then deciding to start the manga. And I'm totally one of those people that once I start an anime and then I start to read the manga, I stop wherever it finished because I don't want to get too many spoilers. And then as it's going, I'll read it the manga after. But if I start the manga first, then I'll just go ahead and finish it. Because sometimes I really enjoy seeing the animation, but it really doesn't matter to me. I do both. And then the one I'm most excited for, which happens to now be one of my favorite manga, Chainsaw Man. I was so excited when they had announced that this was gonna get animated, because who they said was gonna animate it, which is Mappa Studios, who does so amazing with so many of my favorite anime. As like the first one that comes to mind is like Jujutsu Kaisen. Uh, they did the last season of Attack on Titan. They also did Yuri on Ice. So many amazing anime. And just shows you what range they have, you know. clearly like a romance anime like Yuri on Ice to like hardcore action packed stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen, but their animation is always so good, and they just really always kill it for me. So when I found out that they were gonna be doing Chainsaw Man, I was like, I don't know how they're gonna animate that because it is spoiler, a very very gory anime, and I'm not really a person who loves gore. I'm not really into like slasher films, or anything like that, but except for like, the good old classic like Scream where it's a little bit more comedic kind of a thing, but I'm really not into like blood and guts just for blood and guts. So I was like, man, I don't know how they're gonna have to censor this a lot if they don't make it, like rated R essentially, and I don't know how they're gonna do that without, if it's just goes straight from like live television to or unless they're only gonna do it on streaming services, I don't know. And then as more information started to come out, they said, no, 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 no. This is an anime, we're not fucking up. We are literally not censoring jack shit. And it's gonna be full on blood and guts. You're gonna see people's heads getting ripped off and shit. Like, I'm so fucking excited because I don't know how they would do this anime without all that shit. Literally it's called Chainsaw Man. So I don't know how you would do this anime if it had been censored. I mean, I know in a lot of anime in China, I know they censor it very heavily and like all the blood they make white. And like in Attack on Titan, I think they put underwear on the Titans.
First of all, if they make blood all white,
Yeah,
that's
it makes it
actually
way worse. Yeah. No, no, no.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure that is clarified.
Yes, no, it makes things way worse. But anyway, so I was very pleased to find out that they weren't gonna be censoring anything, and actually, not only are they going to not be censoring anything, but they're actually gonna be adding scenes that we haven't seen in the manga as well. So I'm really excited, kinda like what they did with Spy Family, where they add things to help the story or, like, build upon it, but I'm very excited, and as of today, when I'm recording this episode, they started to release the cast, and oh my god, am I so effing excited because some of my favorite voice actors are gonna be in it. I'm not gonna give spoilers, but, like, all I'm saying is I'm really fucking hyped, and I can't wait. Man, and then apparently now that each at the end of each episode, there's gonna be a different outro song for every single episode. That's kick-ass. And then, there's gonna be 12 episodes to start. So, I think that's a great amount for the first season considering they're about, like, if I remember right, like 90 something chapters in just the first like few volumes. And the next series just started of the next set of volumes. So I think that's smart to do the first set of episodes only 12 and then continue to build on it because it's still going, the manga. So they haven't finished it. So I think that's smart to start off with just 12 episodes animated and release it a little bit at a time, probably like what they did with My Hero Academia, because that's still not finished yet either. But as far as I'm aware, it's coming to a close within the next year or so, the manga, so timed it very well, clearly.
So it's not gonna be like a Game of Thrones type of deal,
Yeah,
George
where they
R.
don't
Martin
finish
type of
it.
deal.
Yeah, exactly. God, and then it gets fucked. Um
Well, I mean, 40 years to write a book.
Anyway, and so, more shit coming out. Um, Another anime that I'm really excited for, that is coming out in October as well is a newer anime, never heard of it until it was announced. It's called Blue Lock, and, I am not really a sports fan, but, I love sports animes, and so, anyone that, like, watches anime will understand why though, because it's way more interesting than real life sports. I'm sorry to all the sports fans. Anime just does it a million times better.
How much more interesting? Well,
They have, like,
we
super moves, okay? Like,
yeah, Rachel and I've watched a whole show based off of badminton. So,
literally.
come
Oh
on
my
now.
god, Salaryman's Club? Oh,
Yeah,
that was so good.
phenomenal.
That was phenomenal. Again, like, Yuri on Ice, Skate the Infinity, like, I love sports animes, love them so much. I really need to try to get back into Haikyuu. I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with
Rach, we've
Haikyuu.
tried.
listen, okay, I
We
know.
have tried.
No, 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 I'm gonna give it a real chance. I will say, though, I did try watching it twice in the dub, and that might be what it is for me, because I don't always love dubbed anime. I feel like that might be one of them. You know what I mean? Because I still, to this day, can't watch the dub of Hunter x Hunter, no matter how many and I know so many people love it, but to me, it just does not convey the emotion the same as, like, in the sub, and I'm sorry, but my favorite voice actor, I can't remember her name now off the top of my head, because 'cause I'm blanking, but she does Killua's voice. She's one of my favorite voice actors, and he just can't be beaten for me for Killua. Like, to me, they just sound a little goofy, and, like, the only voice actor I actually like in the dub is, Matthew Mercer, and he does Leorio, but, I mean, he's a king, so kinda hard to not like Matt Mercer. And then the dude that does Hisoka's voice, I think he did very well, but again, Gon and Killua, for me, it just does not they sound like this, and it really takes away from all the emotion in the anime to me, and I don't like it. So I can't watch that one. So I have a feeling it might be that way for me for Haikyuu. So I really do want to give it a real chance and watch the original sub. So I'm gonna anyway, stepping away from that. Blue Lock is a soccer anime, and it looks so kick-ass. It's got like a Hunger Vibes game like vibe to me, where it's like survival or some shit. I really every time I see something about it, there's not a lot of information. So if that's totally wrong, if there's a manga out there, I'm so sorry if I got that stuff fucked up. But it looks really cool. It does not look like your average like tournament style like sports anime. It looks like survival of the fittest, like maybe Squid Game would be a better.
I was gonna say it's Hunger Games meets Squid Game meets soccer, and I mean I can't tell you if anybody gets slashed and
I
dashed
don't
out
know
this
either,
way.
but it looks totally badass, and I'm very excited for that. That comes out in October as well. Um, so we got, as far as October, which two other animes I know are huge, and I just haven't mentioned them because I haven't seen them myself, but I plan on it. So we got Blue Lock, Chainsaw Man, My Hero Academia, Spy Family, not to mention Bleach, 100-Year War Arc. Then we got Mob Psycho 100 coming out. Like, all of these like fucking animes are coming hardcore, okay? I'm so excited. I haven't seen Bleach. This is making me want to watch Bleach, and like so many of my friends are like, "No, no, no, you got to watch Bleach now." So, now I'm gonna watch Bleach, which I know I have so much to watch, but it looks phenomenal. I will say it looks really good. It's not that I never wanted to watch Bleach. I just didn't grow up with it. So it was never on my radar. I will say though, everyone looks insanely hot in that show. Like, everyone is insanely attractive. I don't know how I mean, I guess it's kind of like Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, literally every character is very attractive. I'm not talking about the minors. I know people, you know, I'm talking to anyone that's of age. So like all the teachers. uh,
Tappable.
yeah, exactly. Like, everybody's fucking hot in Jujutsu. I mean, Nanami is god tier. Anyway, so and then now we got moving on from that, all that cool shit. Then these are like just some animes that recently, within the past like couple of weeks, have announced that there's another season coming out, and I'm so fucking excited for. Piggybacking off the sports animes, they have now officially confirmed a season 2 and an OVA for Skate the Infinity, and that is one of my now all-time favorite animes. It's a comfort anime for me. I've watched it like 6 times. I know that's excessive, but it really is so good, and like I've gotten like 4 people to watch it and they all loved it. And it's like got this perfect balance of like the most sweet and like sun moon like friendship. Oh no, it's a little gay. Anyway, that's what all the anyway, moving on. And there's just so many gay ships and it's like awesome. And like the characters, you just genuinely love them, and man, again another perfect character. Like Adam is like a character that you love to hate. You know what I mean? He's a total dick. But he makes a really good villain. And I constantly uh okay, I'm gonna get into this little thing. But for me, Adam is like literally a copy and paste of Hisoka. And so everyone in the skate fandom like hates him. Like hates him so much. But then I don't understand the Hunter x Hunter fandom. They like there's so many people that love Hisoka. And I'm like, There's gotta be some crossover here. Do you guys not realize that they're, like, the exact same character? Not even just, like, their personality, but the way that they look? Like, has no one else made that connection? Like, even their theme music is similar? Anyway. And literally, like, Hisoka's, like, music is, like, a matador, like, Spaniard, like, music, and then freaking Adam is in, like, a matador costume. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. Anyway, I don't like either of them, but I'm really excited that they have an OVA, which for those of you that don't know what an OVA is, it's, brain, fart. Original, like, video anime is what it stands for, and it's essentially like a mini movie that never gets brought to theaters and goes straight to just the series. So it's usually about like an hour and a half long. Given had one at the end of their series. Very, very, very good. Love that anime as well. So what else? What else? What else? Oh, other shit that I'm super excited for, that was recently announced as well. Beastars season 3, I was thinking it wasn't even gonna happen because it's been so long since, like, they said anything. I was like, "Ugh, maybe they're not gonna finish it," because I mean, we're all used to that happening with anime. And this was an anime, I'm not even gonna lie, I never read the manga, and so when I saw it, I shit so hard on the way that it looked for the way it was advertised and everything, and I was like, "That looks like." I hate to shit on the furry community. I'm trying, I
It
promise,
doesn't
like,
look like your cup of tea.
yeah, I'm not trying to shit on the furry community. For me, I don't hate furries. That's not what it is. I'm actually just terrified of the costumes. It's nothing to do with the actual community itself. It's just your costumes terrify me. Because I'm, like, actually terrified of, like, those character costumes, except for when I go to, like, Disney World, because a lot of those times it's like, I don't know what it is for me, but it's I don't know. I think it's because it's a character I know. I don't know, maybe. But, like, I don't know how to explain it. I hope there's someone else in the world that has, like, this exact specific fear. But I'm terrified of the costumes. They just freak me out. Like, by the way, you people are so fucking talented because I don't even know how you come up with the structure of that shit. Like, oh my god, I just said you people. That sounds horrible. Thank you,
Tropic
Justin.
Thunder.
Oh my god. What do you mean, you people? Anyway, and so, like, I shit so hard on this anime when it first came out because it just looked like furry porn. And I was like, "Okay, not my cup of tea." And then I was like, so many of my friends kept telling me, "No, you have to see it. It's like nothing what it looks like." And then I was hooked after, like, the first, like, couple episodes when I was like, "Oh shit, this is, like, intense as fuck. Was not expecting this." And then I got Justin to watch it and he thought the same thing, like, not at all what I thought it was gonna be. And so I'm actually very excited for the 3rd season, which I think will end up being the final season, based off of where the story is now. I think there are 12 volumes of the manga. I'm so sorry if that's wrong and this is your favorite manga. I really don't know. I should have done more research, clearly. My Dress Up Darling season 2 officially confirmed. I don't think there's a release date yet, but another anime that I absolutely fell in love with when it first came out cuz it's just been done so sweetly. There are so many animes that obviously, are a little, for the lack of a better word, pervy and just make you uncomfortable because they totally cross a boundary of consent that I just don't like. So there are a ton of animes that I just can't watch just because it makes me uncomfortable. And it's like there are some characters where it's like it works because they're constantly like reprimanded for me. But then there's other ones that it's like nothing happens and it's just like they degrade every single person and it just grosses me out. But this one was done so differently because they didn't, like, over-sexualize her at all. It was actually done very well, in my opinion, because it's more like just how you feel as a teenager, where you're not necessarily thinking dirty thoughts. You're just, like, clearly attracted to this person, and you're discovering those feelings for the first time, and it's done very well on both sides. He's not trying to sexualize her. He's like, "Don't think like that. Don't think like that. Don't think like that." He's smacking himself around like, I don't wanna be a perv, and, same with her, she, like, likes him a lot, and it's just I think it's so well done. They didn't cross the boundary of him over sexualizing her at all.
Well, they're both genuine about it. He
Exactly.
genuinely likes her, whether or not that means he's come face to face with that truth or not,
Yeah.
but she clearly has those feelings, but again, like you said, it's a genuine reactions, and they're both learning how to deal with it.
Exactly, your typical teenage flirting where, like, the girl clearly is, like, very obvious about, like, her flirting, but the guy, like, just can't it's going right over his head. And it's just very done, like, so sweet and innocently, and I think it's adorable. I love the anime, I love the whole concept that she's, like, a hardcore cosplayer, and, like, here's this guy who just has this hobby that just so happens to line up with the way that that way she can have the costume she wants. It gives him more practice, so I think it was just very, very sweetly done. That's been officially confirmed, and I'm very excited for that second season to come out. There's no official date on it yet as of now, um, but I'm very, very excited. An anime we just recently finished, The Ancient Magus' Bride. We loved that anime so much, and I was like, shit. This is gonna be an anime that they don't fucking finish it, isn't it? I was so mad about it because I was like, damn, this was so good. And it had obviously I think it's been, like, a couple years, if I remember right, since, like, it originally aired. I think it came out in, like, 2018 or 2019, and I was like, "Oh, maybe even longer than I don't know." Anyway, it's, like, either 2018 or 2019, something like that, like, right before the pandemic kind of a thing, and I was like, "Fuck, they're never gonna finish this anime." And the way it ends, it's like, "Shit, so much shit could be happening," like and it was so good. I loved the music, loved, loved, loved the animation. Such a sweet, like, romance, like, and, like, innocently done, not creepily, like, never was, like, any icky feelings, you know? Again, same thing like I was talking about with My Dress Up Darling. There's, like, no pervy antics or anything like that.
You
I
know,
thought
I think sorry,
no, you're good.
I think the thing about that era of all these, younger animes that would come
Mhm.
out, I mean, even if they're based off of manga, whatever, but, like, the ones that ended right around, like, 2018,
Mhm.
2019, and then COVID,
Yeah, I think they've
pandemic
just been
happens,
pushed
and then
back.
so it's either you either have a fantastic show that can definitely weather the storm and come back post-pandemic,
Mhm.
but then you've also got these shows that are like, 1 seasons long that really haven't they might be a little bit more niche, and they might not be speaking to as big of an audience as somebody
Dude,
like
I'm
My
still
Hero.
waiting for the fucking Yuri on Ice movie. They announced that shit like 2 years ago.
But it's one of
Hurry
those
up,
kind of things,
Mappa.
that's another but that right there has the fan base
Yeah.
to weather that storm. That, it seems like it's a very niche thing, and it's one of those kind of deals where anime is already known to just drop
Oh,
off.
yeah, straight up.
So it's
I never expected them to finish Yuri on Ice, and the way it ends, it's a satisfying
indies.
jeez, ending. And so I never expected them to finish Yuri on Ice, and it's again, that was an anime that like I watched when it first came out, and I didn't expect to love it, and I in fact didn't finish it. And then I caught up and, like, binged the rest of it, and then I realized, "Oh my god, I love this anime so much." It was ju man, again, I have so many comfort animes, but, like, that is one of them. Like, one that I will get other people to watch and be like, "No, no, no, you have to see this." And, I actually kinda like the dub of that one because it is so bad it's good kind of a thing. Because they all have the really bad accents, and it just kinda works with how comedic, the anime is kind of a thing. But I actually prefer the Japanese one, but every now and again, if I'm, like, not in the mood to, like, read subtitles, I'll watch the dub because it's, again, one of those things where it's so bad it's good. Um, but over dramatic kind of a thing,
But it's not even that bad. It's
no,
very
it's pretty good.
it's
There's been worse.
humorous.
There's been worse, I'll put it that way, but, again, like, I love that anime, and, when they announced the movie, which is I'm assuming 'cause, the only they've only done 1 trailer for this shit, and it's Victor coming onto the ice, and he's got his long hair, so this is, like, pre-meeting Yuri. And so I'm assuming it's when, he was competing. And I really want to see that because 1, I love Victor so, so, so much. And I literally cried when that trailer came out because I was just like, shut the fuck. I mean, it had been like 6 years since Yuri on Ice aired, and just the fact that like one of my favorite animes could just come back like that was like so surreal for me. And the fact that it's getting a movie, granted, it's been, I mean, it was announced right at around the beginning of COVID, so I'm assuming MAPPA had to push it back quite a bit. But I don't think they're giving up on the project because of the fans, are kind of pressuring them. I mean, this is a fandom that when they started releasing the preview art and stuff, or not the preview art, but like what's it called? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, where they release official art. There was like an official art of like them at the Olympics, and for spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen Yuri on Ice, Victor and Yuri have rings, and the fans noticed that Victor's ring was missing, and the entire fandom erupted and were like all these conspiracy theories came out. They're like, "Are they getting divorced? Did they break up? What's going on?" And then it just turns out that one of the animators forgot to add the ring in, and they fixed it. But that's how big that these characters like relationship and how important it is to people that like the animators were like, "Shit, we fucked that bad. Put the ring in. Put the ring back in." So, I'm really excited for whenever that comes out. I'm still holding out hope, that it comes out within the next couple years. Me and my best friend will, be sobbing when that comes out. That's one of our favorite animes. And then, let's see what else. I have, like, literally a whole list that I'm just so excited to talk about. Um, ooh, and then let's get into, like, um, live action series. So these have already started, but, we're already hooked. House of the Dragon and Rings of Power. Me and Justin are huge Lord of the Rings nerds, um, like, so much, to where at least twice a year we watch all of the extended editions, just 'cause. Like, we'll just get in the mood and we'll be like, "You wanna watch some Lord of the Rings?" And he'll be like, "Extended edition?" I'm like, "Duh." And then we'll just, like, binge it, and, like, spend, like, a whole weekend or next couple weekends just, like, watching all the movies.
And they are time investments,
Yes,
clearly, but you
yes.
get such a
It's just
different
such a better
no, yeah,
experience.
you get a different story to it because it's a complete different experience
Yes.
story-wise completely, because
It
what you see in
follows the book so
theatrical,
much, yes.
it's great, it's fine, it's great, it's dandy, I love it. However, watching the
It's just
extended
so much
editions, you
better.
get so much more out of it, something that they barely even touch on in the theatrical
Yeah.
release.
They started around the same time. Rings of Power came out, uh no. House of the Dragon started first and then Rings of Power came out after that. Um, I'm really enjoying both for different reasons, and I feel like a lot of people are comparing them to each other, but for me, it makes no sense because they're such completely different franchises. Like Lord of the Rings is like your typical fantasy and shit, and like then Game of Thrones is like totally like badass, ripping shit apart, like dramatic. They're completely different like fields for me, even though they're somewhat in like the same kind of like fantasy realm. They are nowhere near close to the same type of story. So I don't know why people are comparing them to each other than the fact that they just came out around the same time. I mean, even the fact they're just completely different fandoms. So I don't understand why people are comparing them.
Not to get into low-hanging fruit, about why people say that they don't like The Lord of the Rings because of that bullcrap. An elf's an elf, and that's all
Oh
I'm
my
gonna say
god,
about that.
yeah.
However, to your point, exactly to your point, it's only because they came out within, like, a week, maybe
I
2,
think
I
it's
can't
two
remember,
weeks, yeah.
apart from each other. Completely different situations, and one's a fantasy book, yeah, the other one's a fantasy book, yeah, I get it, but they're completely different stories within those
Yeah.
fantasy worlds and lore.
Not to mention, let's just start with the fact that the House of the Dragon is based off of the Fire and Blood book series that so they already have that to work with. And then Rings of Power is just inspired and based off of the previous novels of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. There was no book other than just, previous lore sprinkled in throughout the novels of these things. They completely made a whole new story based off these characters' previous lives, pre The Lord of the Rings trilogy. So,
And there was notes, like,
exactly.
it's like all the stuff that they're bringing into the account was, like, notes or lore driven from the original stories.
Exactly. And for me, I think what a lot of people is that obviously like Game of Thrones is known so well to just hit the ground running. You know what I mean? Like it grabs you within the first episode kind of a thing. And I feel like people are shitting. I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. They are shitting on Rings of Power is because it has a slow build. And I feel like so many people now are so impatient when it comes to storytelling that they just ignore any of the actual important shit that they're saying because it's not action, action, action. And it's like not every I'm gonna shit on something and I know I'm gonna get so much shit for this, but I feel like that's what happened for me with Marvel movies. I feel like a lot of them lost that captivation for me, like the comics, because a lot of it turned into Transformers movies with me, and I think everyone will understand what I mean by that, where it's just to have action and not good storytelling. And that's not to shit on Stanley. Like, I love the comics, I love all of that. But I just stopped getting interested in Marvel because, again, I've talked about this before, where people just started to ruin the story for you because you had to see it as soon as it came out. Otherwise, it would get spoiled for you. I felt like they just started adding shit just to add it and not to anything to do with like the actual characters. And I know that may be different for a lot of people. I know so many people love those series, but for me, I lost interest in them so quickly after and there's just so many of them now. I Listen, I gave up after Guardians of the Galaxy and I know there's a lot of cool shit that happened after that, but again, I know almost everything that happens because it got so spoiled for me that I just don't even care. And then the 2 series that I actually did wanna see, like, I know I'd probably have to see all of those movies to kinda understand what's going on because I really wanted to see the Loki series because he is one of my favorite villains. And then I really wanted to see the Scarlet Witch series, on Disney Plus, but again, I just so much of it has been ruined for me that I've just lost care in it?
Yeah, I mean, you take away here's my thing, as big as the Marvel universe is with
Mhm.
all the figures that are known
Yeah.
widespread, how many movies are we gonna have with the same 8 people?
There's
I'm
like
t I'm Yeah, and
15!
it's like, if that's why it's like one of those kind of things where it's just you're gonna have to see one to see, you wanna see one, you have to see all, and it's
And
like,
it's just
but why don't we
it got
start
so
intertwining other
exhausting for
stories?
me, you know what I mean? It's not like and I'm gonna compare it to Star Wars, I really am, because Star Wars had the movies, had all 3 trilogies, right? And then they came out with series after them to help build up on the stories that already happened, not to continuously add into them, and while I know that there are a lot of people who are not enjoying some of the series, I enjoy a lot of them, and I'm actually very excited about the new Andor series because Rogue One is one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I feel like that was one of the new
Absolutely my favorite.
I feel like that was one addition that Disney did so very well when it came to Star Wars, honestly, because it perfectly, in my opinion, as a huge Star Wars fan, I feel like it really did tie in the story. It was a good way to complete something on the bridge of 2, movies. And, I do have my qualms with the sequels, but I do have characters I love. I can go into that heavily. And I know there are a lot of people that love the sequels, and I know there are a lot of people that hate them. So, and I'm talking about the new trilogy with Kylo Ren and Rey, okay? I know a lot of people shit on those and I'm including one of those people, but not I will say not to the extent that a lot of other people do. I feel like the Star Wars fandom has really shit on itself unfortunately and become pretty fucking toxic over the years. And same thing with the Marvel community. I'm not shitting on just one community. This feel like the more, obviously things get mainstream, the shittier the fandom gets. So, unfortunately, that's just how it works, but to my point, I feel where Star Wars in the sequels fell extremely short is, again, rushing the story, not filling in parts that were, in my opinion, extremely vital to the character's development, and then completely dropping off other characters who may have actually helped the storyline and just rushing. They really did. And that's why I think I don't understand why people get so impatient when it comes to good storytelling, because in my opinion, Rings of Power is not hitting the ground running with just action just to have action. They are building up to the events that happen later on in Lord of the Rings. That's why it's got a slow build, people. It's to build up on the story. It's not boring. You're impatient. I'm gonna just fucking say it. A lot of these people are just fucking impatient. And that's the problem, unfortunately, when big shows like this hit like mainstream, is that you have all these people who didn't ever give a single fuck about any of the other novels, movies, anything before that, and they're just jumping into these series and they're like, God, it's so boring. It's got such a slow start. Have you ever read a fucking book? Sometimes shit don't get good until the 20th chapter and there's 100 chapters. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't you can't just start a story knowing everything about the character. That is what the whole point of character development is, to understand this person's struggle, to understand their weaknesses, their strengths, their motivation as a character. You can't just tell all this shit in the first 10 minutes. It builds. And so I don't understand why a lot of these shows get shit on when they're actually very good. And what happens is that later on in the line, people are like, you know what? It's actually really fucking good. And it's like, yeah, if you had just been fucking patient, then you wouldn't have been bitching about it this whole time. I feel like the same thing has happened with Stranger Things. Me coming in on the bandwagon super late. So many people have shit on a lot of the stuff of it. And as somebody who binged the fuck out of it, can see some qualms, but not to the extent that, like, I feel like people shit on it. You know what I mean? And I think, again, it was the same thing. People got impatient with the storytelling.
To your point about what you're talking about, Star Wars, the sequels, 7,
Yeah.
8, 9 earlier,
Yeah.
I was going to add to that. I mean, this could just be because, we've already declared our Marvel side
Yeah.
thoughts and opinions on things, but I feel like that was kind of when they started the whole, um, transition to try to incorporate more storytelling involved with it, and I felt like to your point, they rushed it
Mhm.
because I think they had other stories in mind, like all the stuff that we're already getting, and
Exactly.
they rushed to get the sequels done
I
so that way
agree.
they could
They
focus
could
on
focus
all
on
the
the
other
other
stuff and force into a more Marvel-esque kind of
a
universe.
Marvel universe. Yeah, exactly. And bridging in the other stories because yeah, because we loved The Mandalorian, still do. Really excited for season 3. I have some qualms with Boba Fett, not gonna lie. But again, this is something that's like, for me, I think what it is that I am just a diehard fan for anything that I love. You know what I mean?
And I will
And
say in defense of that, like, I know that they were trying to rush that to get to these other stories.
yes.
I'm here for these stories. I
Yeah.
love what they're doing for most of the part, and I
Yeah.
love what they have going on. Like you mentioned, Andor, which starts in
A couple
IRL time
days.
is like
Yeah.
a few days from
Literally a
now.
few days from
Yeah,
now.
so which is exciting, but like it's definitely a thing where I feel like they capped off the series starters
Yeah.
in a negative way to make room for this
I agree.
progression.
And it's really unfortunate because, you know, I feel like for me, I try not to like hate on too much shit cuz a lot of it for me, like for Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, all of these series, I am such a diehard fan because they are from my childhood. And for me, no matter how shitty it is, I'm still going to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Cuz it's still my favorite thing. Like, as much as I'm not in love with the sequels, I still enjoyed them to some extent, just because it's fucking Star Wars. You know what I mean? And same thing with like Stranger Things. I came on super late to that, and then once I started watching it, I literally binged the entire series in like a week because I fell in love so quickly. And again, it's just really unfortunate how some people just can be impatient with storytelling and just shit on something simply because they don't want good character development, and I feel like this is what, for me, has ruined so much live action television, just regular TV for me, is because I've seen so much anime, and I feel like any of my friends who love anime and are hardcore anime fans will agree with me on this. Once you start watching anime, like, hardcore, you realize how shit other shows are, and that they have no good storytelling, and they are just regurgitating the same bullshit in, like, every other show, and nothing is original anymore, and that's the reason I love anime so much, is because 'cause I'll find a new anime, and it's like something I've never seen before, you know what I mean? There is genuinely still good storytelling with anime, because animation is limitless, you know what I mean? Whereas live action TV, I mean, I've seen, like, think about how many fucking doctors shows there are. Grey's Anatomy, all like, and like, oh my god, there's so fucking many.
They're the same ones. That show, I was just telling you this the other day because I was on a website that forced me to watch an ad, and I'm like, "This is stupid," and it was like a network television show,
Yeah.
which we don't have cable, heads up, by the
Yeah.
way. It was, what that one show, it was like the Rat Family, uh, Empire
Oh, yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
whatever it's
yeah,
called.
yeah. You're right, you're right, you're right.
Okay. They have, like, a new country version of that
See what I'm
exact same
saying?
show, and it's like that was what they were advertising, and I'm, like, looking at this thing, and I'm like, I remember when the people that are in this probably were shitting on the people that were in that
Yeah.
about that show. Anyways, but no, it's also one of those kind of things where it's just the
The
same
same
shit over and
bullshit,
over and
just,
over and
like,
over again.
slightly different, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's not I just don't get excited for it at all. And we literally don't watch cable anymore. Like, anything that we watch, it's all streaming services because we mainly watch animation because it's just such a better medium. I'm not even gonna like fucking sugarcoat it. It's just better. It really is. And man, like, you just get tired of seeing the same bullshit over and over again. With that being said, there is another live action series other than, like, The Rings of Power and Andor and House of the Dragon that I'm actually very excited for. This is for my sci-fi nerds. They Hulu just recently announced that they're gonna be doing an Alien series, and I freaked the fuck out because I'm not really a horror fan, and I'm gonna get shit on for that. I know so many people love horror movies. I just I'm not really a blood and guts kind of person, which is so funny because I was just talking about how much I love Chainsaw Man. But I think it's like horror for me. I like suspense. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, again, I love a good story. So when it's just blood just to be blood, I'm not really here for it. I know so many people love them. I'm not trying to shit on your favorite movies. I know a lot of them are like diehard favorites. I love the original Scream series, but that's because I love Matthew Lillard, he's literally probably the most wholesome person on the planet. And I would do anything for him. But, yeah, I'm very excited that they're doing an Alien series because I love sci-fi shit. I love sci-fi shit. And so Alien has always been one of those, like, is Alien horror? It's more sci-fi. It's aliens. It's aliens, literally. I would classify that as anyway. And when they announced that, I was, like, literally just talking about how much, like, I miss those movies, and I was talking about how I really wanna rewatch those because I haven't seen them in so long, and kinda bitching about how there hasn't been, like, a good Alien video game since, why can't I think of it right now? Isolation, yeah. I fucking loved that game, and it scared the shit out of me when it came out, but, I actually enjoyed that game because there was, like, a new one that came out recently within the past year, and it didn't get the greatest of reviews, but I'm really excited to see what they do with that. I hope they don't fuck that up, you know? It doesn't look like it's gonna be bad, but I'm pretty excited to see where they go with that. Um, hopefully it doesn't turn to shit. It's just again, for me, a lot of this, it's that a lot of live action series just don't measure up to, like, good storytelling. Now, different sort of thing, I love me some fucking trash TV. I love that shit.
Before you get into your trash
Oh god.
TV, the whole live action remakes.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
whole
man.
thing about that situation is specifically Netflix. In
They
this
always
situa
fuck them up.
the reason why is because it's like they're trying to push their version of it.
Yeah.
All you have to do is listen to the fans, which
Has never
knowing
happened.
knowing the fandoms in all these animes and all these nerd categories that we're talking about can be opposing to each other.
Yeah.
So I understand that following the line that you wanna follow is difficult, but not following any of the said input lines is where they fuck up. It's like, we don't need your new version of it. Your new
Yeah.
version is a real person and not an animated situation
Exactly. It's
right now.
already starting off to a bad point because how are you gonna make this person look anything like an animated character whose hair literally fucking defies gravity? It's like, no.
That's the least of my qualms. I understand the
The
difference between a real person
No,
and
no,
an
no, no,
animated
shut up,
person.
shut up.
No,
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 no.
no, no, no,
No,
no.
no, no, no,
It's
shut up,
when they're
shut the fuck
changing
up.
shit because they
No,
wanna
no,
make
no,
it
no.
their own. That's where they fuck up.
No, I'm gonna tell you where they fuck up is that because in Japan, they do uh like not musical version, but theatrical versions of of these animes. Like there's so many like screenplays of animes that are fucking phenomenal. How come they can't fucking do that in live action? They literally are putting these people in cosplay. How hard is that? Like, I would prefer that and it be shitty and them look like the characters and it still like somewhat turn out like shit than like Dragon Ball Revolution. Okay, I feel like everyone knows that that was the absolute most bullshit remake ever. I literally have never been like, what the fuck is this so fast in my life?
It's important to note that that's not the show that or movie that I'm actually talking about here, but
I
I'm
know.
talking about, like, Space Cowboy, where
You
apparent
mean
like
Cowboy Bebop?
shit.
I
Space
mean, she
Cowboy.
does say that. Anyway,
Tommy
see
Lee
you later,
Jones
Space
and shit.
Cowboy.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, no. I didn't even watch it. I was so disappointed, which is so sad because like actually it's not that I didn't watch it. I watched the first few episodes and for me it just could not come anywhere near how amazing Cowboy Bebop is to me. And I couldn't finish it. I didn't want to see it get any worse. I didn't want it to get ruined for me. And I know that there are some people that actually enjoyed it as a live action. I'm not gonna try to shit on it, but for me, obviously, there are just some things that should not be replicated. They should not be remade into live action. But then I mean, I talked about this a little bit in another episode. Let's talk about something that should easily be replicated in live action. Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is real martial arts that each bending style is inspired by, and literally all you would have to fucking do is animate the shit because actually those it's kind of like the same thing with Demon Slayer.
They've already done Avatar.
Don't get me started on this fucking shit. Anyway, and so like I mean, we've already talked about how I'm really disappointed that the original creators backed out of the Netflix remake, and so I already know this is not gonna end well for the series. I am still going to watch it, um, see how it is, but I just have a feeling, knowing how passionate the creators are with Avatar and their world and what they've built and their series and their fandom and the books and everything, Netflix fucked up bad. They fucked up bad. Um, so I'm really nervous about that. But I mean, literally, like something like that should easily be replicated. And I think that's what's so frustrating about how bad that live action movie is because it's based off of real martial arts. They whitewash the entire fucking cast when each nation is based off of real fucking cultures. So it makes no sense why you would have like half the cast be white when no one in that series is fucking white. It doesn't make any sense. It's just really racially insensitive. One, I'm gonna start there. Then you change characters' names. Why is his fucking airbending tattoos like they don't even look anything like they did in the animated series, and it's something that he earned anyway. I'm getting too much on a tangent about that, but this is something that should easily be replicated as long as you get a good cast and train people in the right martial arts to do it because all they have to do is then CGI the fucking elements. That is it. It should not be that difficult, and I think that's why it's so frustrating to see that movie, is because even if it had the shittiest budget, that movie, it does not excuse the shit acting. That's the bottom fucking line, and ruining the story and changing the story. And then to see that possibly happening again, which is something that the fans have said, if you fuck this up again, it's like, we're never watching the rest of the series, Netflix. That's gonna be another one of your shows that gets just one season, then it gets fucking canceled. Because this is such a beloved series that if you fuck it up a second time, it's like you just pissed off the wrong fucking fandom. You know what I mean? And then
Netflix only knows how to replicate movies with Adam Sandler in it.
yeah. And jeez. I'm just really I'm really hoping that it the good thing about that happening though is that then the creators made their own thing and created Avatar Studios, and they're going to be continuing their stories on their own. And I'm very excited because they just announced like who the next Avatar is going to be. They're working on it possibly. They actually have announced that there's going to be 3 new animated movies releasing in the next few years, and the stories behind them. I'm very excited about that. And they've already started releasing more novels, like with The Legend of Korra and the Kyoshi series as well. I'm very excited to see that just because they got fucked over by Netflix, that did not dishearten them into continuing their stories with these amazing characters. You know what I mean? It really could have easily been like something that like made them be like, "Nope, I'm fucking done with this bullshit. You guys keep fucking up our story." And it should not be that hard. You know what I mean? I have a weird sneaky suspicion that Netflix is going to try to age up the characters in an inappropriate way. And it is not. The whole point of what makes Avatar so amazing is the fact that they're fucking children saving the world. Literally. And
Because they have a different kind of view on the world than the
then the adults.
tainted adult view of it.
Exactly. That's what makes it is literally Gen Z saying fuck you to the boomers. Like it's the equivalent to that.
And then they're
Okay.
going to they're I hope not, but they're gonna over sexualize
I really
every
hope that that doesn't happen, but I just have a weird, not to mention apparently one of the people that, and if this is wrong, I'm sorry, but I've heard through the grapevine that one of the characters lied about being indigenous to play one of the characters, and that really fucking pissed me off. It's like, so you took the role from a person who is probably more talented than you with the actual ethnic background of the fucking character just so you could get the role. That's fucked up. So that pissed me off. I'm really hoping they don't fuck it up, but I already know that if the creators have left, that it's not a good sign. All I can say is it's really unfortunate because again, I love the Avatar series so much. I mean, literally every time I rewatch it, I just literally find something else I love more about it, and I learn more about the character. Like every time you watch it, it's one of those shows that no matter how many times you watch it, it's still like you still get like the same reactions every time you watch it because it's just so phenomenal, the storytelling. And you just love these characters so much, and they all have like their own growth and you have to realize that in Avatar The Last Airbender, this all happens in a fucking year. All of that shit happened to these kids in a year. That's fucking insane, okay? And then in Legend of Korra, which I will talk about another time, that takes place over a span of 4 years. So it's like they are polar opposites of each other, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm just really excited to see that there is now an Avatar Studios. There is a new video game coming out. There is a new tabletop game coming out. I'm very excited for all of this shit. I'm so excited to see that they've seriously expanded on this universe and it's just continuing to grow because it is so well deserved. Like honestly, these people have like really made some of the most amazing and beloved characters I've ever seen. I mean, I feel like everyone can pretty much agree that Zuko has one of the best redemption arcs in like all of like redemption arc history. I feel like that's just like duh. You know what I mean? Like, and Dante Bosco is like such he does that character so well. In other words, Rufio, if you don't know. um, for me, it's just like I really hope that they don't taint like my characters again, because that's exactly like as a fandom, I feel like again we just all pretend that that movie does not fucking exist because it's just such a fuck you to how amazing this series is, you know. And even though it's supposed to be for kids, when you watch Avatar, you realize how adult it really is, and they've just made it kid friendly. You know what I mean? Like they don't say the word die, you know, or like kill. But
An adult, you mean like life lessons.
exactly. Exactly. Like so many times like Uncle Iroh is one of my favorite characters. And he really genuinely does give such good advice to Zuko throughout the entire series. And it shows like each character has such good relationships and they each build up on each other's relationships with each other. Again, this is something that I was talking about earlier where it's like good storytelling takes time. It's not boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Like it takes time to build up good characters. You can't just introduce all of their trauma and their bullshit within the first couple episodes. That doesn't make for good storytelling. It doesn't make you resonate with the character, it doesn't make you care about the character. And, it's not like, you know, the best way I can describe it is when a character gets introduced in an anime and you fall in love with the character and then they die very soon. It's not like that because what usually happens with that is throughout those entire one episode movie, whatever, that they've introduced this character, they are telling you their entire life story throughout this entire thing. So that way you gain closeness to this character and then it hurts that much worse that they don't have longer in the series or movie or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So it's just bullshit when like people are like, "Oh, it starts off so slow." Then don't watch it. Don't fucking watch it. If you don't like long story formats, don't fucking watch them. And don't you can't earn that right to bitch then. If you just don't like long form storytelling, then don't interact with it. It's just utter bullshit. It's the most bullshit claim when somebody's like, it's just a bit slow for me. And it's like, there's a difference between bad pacing in storytelling and just character building. That's what I'm saying is like, it's absolute bullshit. Like, you know what has bad pacing? Like Sailor Moon Crystal. And that's coming from a diehard Sailor Moon fan, okay? They literally like throw the first 3 seasons and like the first 12 episodes of it. And it was horrible for me at least. And what else? I'm trying to think now. I feel like I was just bitching about it not too long ago. Why can't I think? My brain completely went
Like
blank.
today
Yeah, I feel like I was bitching about it earlier today.
when we were recording.
Maybe. Fuck. Anyway, my point is like, oh yeah, Earwig and the Witch. That was bad. That was bad pacing. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between bad pacing in time in like a show or movie, and then just like story building. That's the thing is like you can't say something's slow because you're impatient. There is a difference between bad pacing where it's literally you're waiting and waiting and waiting for something to actually fucking happen and then boom all the shit happens all at once. That makes no sense. In other words, the last season of Game of Thrones, perfect fucking example of bad pacing. Anyway,
Take 7.5 seasons to get where you need them to get to, and then
and
all of
then
a sudden
fuck all of the character development. Anyway, back to some other things that have been confirmed because I went on a tangent. I'm sorry. I just get really passionate
Inside
about
voice
this
time.
stuff. To wrap this up, here's a couple more things that were recently confirmed as of just like a couple days ago from like recording this, I think. Third season of Fire Force has been officially confirmed. I love that anime. And Seven Deadly Sins gets another season coming out too. I don't know how I feel about that. So to wrap up my rant of like all these shittily paced shows and character development and bad things, as always, It's not easy being geeky,
Well,
guys.
hold on, before we wrap it up, let's go through a final
Oh,
checklist here.
final
Yeah,
checklist?
let's
Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay, you're right, you're right.
you did
Alright.
yeah, come on.
Alright, we got Fire Force, Seven Deadly Sins, Chainsaw Man, Blue Lock, Spy Family, Bleach, My Hero Academia, Don't Mess With Me, Miss Nagatoro, Season 2, Skate the Infinity, Season 2, Beastar Season 3, My Dress Up Darling, Season 2, Andor, the Star Wars series, House of the Dragon, Rings of Power, and the Alien series. That's all the shit I talked about today.
Is this all October or coming
No,
up?
it's coming up within, like, the next few months or so,
Gotcha.
or has already released.
Gotcha.
Chewy's getting impatient. He's giving me the look like, "Mom, are you ready? Are you done?" S I'm sorry, Julie. Oh, you're very sweet. You've been very patient today. I'm very proud of you. Anyway, guys, as always, it's not easy being geeky. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of me just ranting about shit and talking about some shit I'm really hyped for. Don't forget to check us out on all of our socials. We got a dope community on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and everything to links to our social is on our website, noteasybeingeeky.com. Thanks again, guys. See you later.